Welcome everyone today to the Dues and Billing webinar. My name is Michael. I will be bringing you through just about everything today. We also have Zach here as our co-host. He will be handling all of your questions in the chat and Q&A section. So if you guys do have any questions at any point during the webinar, feel free to go ahead and click on that Q&A button down in your Zoom meeting options. And you'll be able to put in any questions or things that you would like answered. And Zach will be able to get those answered for you. So let's go ahead and we will get started.
I was about to say, the one thing I just want to note for everybody, just so you're aware, all of these webinars are being recorded. Today's session is also being recorded, and all of these recordings will be available at a later date over on the Club Runner community.
Yeah, thank you very much, Zach. That is correct. Everything here today will be recorded and available on the Club Runner community website. So if anyone else here needs to leave out at any point, feel free to check back and the recording will be made available for you. So moving on, today we'll be covering a couple of different things in particular to the Dues and Billing module. So there are a couple of few things that we will be covering, like configuring the module itself to get everything set up correctly, how you can go about creating your own bills and invoices and sending them out to your club's membership, how you can go about recording any payments that your members have submitted, as well as how you can make some simple changes to member statements. And it's just like if there's any mistakes or anything like that, you can fix those up. As we'll also briefly covering any of the reports that we have available as well. So we're actually going to go ahead and we're going to jump right into it. So just give me 1 second. I'm going to change my window. So here we go. So we are already logged in to our club's member area. If you are not logged in, all you really have to do is go to your club's website. In the top right corner, you will find a member login link that you can go ahead and you can click on, enter your login information, and from there you'll be able to access the member area. Once you've been able to get logged in, we're going to want to go ahead and we're going to access the Dues and Billing module. So there are a few different ways that you can go about this. First, in the top blue navigation bar we have at the top of the page, we can go ahead and click on the Organization tab. And then from here, in the secondary bar that's just below, we can click on Dues and Billing. So let's go ahead and we can click on that. And from here, this is where we have our billing home. This is where we can see any of the invoices that we've already created in the past or are currently active. Before we go ahead and we create a new bill, I do want to quickly show you guys how you can go about setting everything up to make sure that the module is good to go right out of the gate. So from the billing homepage, we're going to want to go ahead and on the left-hand side, we're going to find the settings category. And under here, we'll find configuration settings. Go ahead and click on configuration settings. And this will bring us to our account configuration page, where we have a bunch of different options that we can put in. First off is we have our billing address. So we have 123 Sesame Street listed here. You can put this in or wherever you would like for your club's billing address to be. Usually this is the club's meeting location or head office or anything like that. So you can enter in your address, line 1, city, state, postal codes, all of that information. But the big one here is the display currency. So this is what we will be using to determine what currency the Dues and Billing module will be utilizing. So right now we have it selected as Canadian dollars since Club Runner is located within Canada. But we also have a bunch of other different options that are available. So you can select between Angolan Kwanza, Aruban Florin, the United States dollar as well. All of these currencies are available for you to select from. If you don't see any specific currencies, feel free to reach out to our team. We'll be able to take a look, see what we can do for you. Next, we have some items. When creating new items, so you can apply the amount to either you can choose between all members or you can select between to not apply it to anyone. We'll cover this a little bit briefly, but essentially what this is, when you are creating an invoice and you are adding an item to the invoice in specific, you can set the default option. So currently we have it selected as to all members. So if we were to go and create a new item currently in an invoice, it will automatically be applied to all of our club members. If we were to select do not apply, everyone would be deselected as opposed to already selected for us. So if this is more of a preference option, if you would like to play around with it, feel free to test this out and see how you like it. Next, we have our display options. This is what will allow you to, you can configure who in your club you can actually apply invoices to. So by default, all of your club's active members will already be available. But if you still want to be able to send out invoices and billing items to either ex-members or honorary members, you can go ahead and select those as well. We already have them selected, and we'll be able to show you exactly what that looks like in just a moment. You can also choose to require have a payment comment entered whenever an individual goes to submit their payment for their invoice. They'll be required to enter a comment. Or this will also be required if your club executive is going in and recording these payments as well. So if you want to have a quick little comment with every payment, feel free to enable this as well. Next, we have our default tax rates. So if you guys want to apply any tax ratings for your club's invoices, you can feel free to enter in that information here. For Ontario, Canada, where Club Runner is located, we have a harmonized sales tax of 13%. So in this case, which is split up between 5% federal and 8% federal and 5% state or provincial, as I should say. So this is already entered in for us. If you have different tax rates, you can enter them in here as well. Finally, we have the option to select a different payment method. This may not be available for you. As you can see, we have a couple of different options listed here. This is the Sage Payment Solutions and Beanstream Payment Solutions, or Bambora. This has to do with the online payment module, and this is what will allow us to accept online credit card payments for our invoices and club dues. If you guys do not have the online payment module, you will only have this no payment account specified option, and you won't be able to accept online payments. So let's go ahead and we can save all of these changes to make sure that we are good to go. So all you really have to do is, once you're done selecting everything, go ahead and click on the Save button in the bottom right corner. And you'll get a nice little message at the top of the page indicating that all of your settings have been saved successfully. And now that we've gotten all of our configuration out of the way and set up and we're good to go, we can jump right in to creating our bill. So from the configuration settings page, to get back to that billing homepage that we were on previously, back on the left-hand side, underneath the billing section up at the top, we can go ahead and click on the home option. And again, this will bring us back to our billing home page, where we can see the list of our club's previous bills, any active bills, and also allow us to create a new bill. So to get started, simply go ahead and click on the Create New Bill button. And this will bring up a page where you can start entering in some basic information about the bill. So we can enter in a description. So let's say this is for club dues. We can enter in a due date for whenever we would like these payments to be submitted by. If you would like to select a date using a calendar, you can go ahead and click on this little calendar icon to the right here. And this will bring up a nice little calendar view that you can go through, and you can select individual dates. You can click the left and right arrows to navigate between months. And if you were to click on the text in the center here, where in this case this is September 2021, it will back up and give you a larger view of what you're looking at. So if we were taking a look at individual days, we can click on that to view the months of the year. And then if we were to click on it once more, we can now view individual years as opposed to the months or the days. So in this case, let's go back into 2021, and we will have this bill due for August 4th. Next, we can enter in any additional comments. So if there's anything specific about this bill that you want to make sure is noted, you can feel free to add this here. So we can say club dues for the month of August. And once you're happy with all of this information, you can go ahead and click on the save link to the right of the page. If you want to cancel all of these as well, you can also click on the cancel button. But for now, we're going to go ahead and click save. After clicking on save, you'll be automatically brought to this new page where we can see and we can start specifying the charges and setting up our bill. So we have all of the information that we've entered already. So this was created July 16th, 2021. We have the name of the individual that created it, the bill's current status, the due date, as well as the comments that we've entered. So this is all just information we've already clarified. But now we want to go ahead and actually start inputting items onto the bill for people to be invoiced, which is actually step 1 on this page: specify charges and select recipients. So as you can see here, right now we have no items for this bill. So let's go ahead and we'll add one. To do so, go ahead and click on the add additional item link, or button, I should say. And from here, we can start entering in some more information. So at the top of the page, we have the option to specify some details for our invoice item. So we can select a quantity, the default quantity for every member. Let's go ahead and we'll leave that as 1 for now. And then we can go ahead and also enter in some invoice details. So this is what will be used to describe on the actual invoice sent out to your members what exactly this invoice item is for. So once again, let's just enter club dues. And our club currently charges $50 per month for their membership. So let's go ahead and we will enter 50. And as you can see, some of the fields that were here have automatically updated and filled with this information. So we've entered our unit price and we can see the total amount is now $50. And then we also below that, we have our tax calculations. So we've entered a unit price of $50 with a quantity of 1. And so that at 5% PST and 8% GST, that will come up to $2.50 and $4 respectively. And then you'll finally see the item total just below. So all of this will all be applied to our members. And since we had that apply to all members option selected within the configuration settings, we can see that it has automatically been applied to just about everyone within the club. If you scroll down a little bit, you can see a list of all of your club's active members, honorary members, any other active membership types. And since we did have those other display options enabled, we can also see our ex-members as well as any honorary members. We don't seem to have any in this case, so they're not actually being listed. But if we go back up to the top of the page, we've entered in our individual item details, but now we can also we can select between which members this should apply to. So in the case of club dues, we would want it to apply to just about everyone. But you can go through and individually deselect or select members that you want this item to apply to. So we can deselect Sue, we can deselect Eddie, we can select anyone that we would like, say they fall under the rule of 85 and they're no longer paying for their club dues anymore. You can deselect them here. And as you can see, the information along their name is all updated to reflect that as well. And of course, you can manually adjust these fees on a per member basis as well, using that $50 that we've entered previously as a starting point. So we can enter in, say, for Charles Hampton here, instead of $50, they've been a long-time member, so we're giving them a little bit of a discount. Instead of $50, they only have to pay $30. And as you can see, when we updated that, the tax rates, or sorry, the total amount of tax applied to Charles' invoice has been updated, and the total amount has been updated as well. So you can use this page to enter in all of that pricing information and select exactly who you want this item to apply to. And once you're happy with all of that information, all you have to do is go ahead and click on the Save button. So let's go ahead and do that. And from here, you can see that under step 1, specify charges and select recipients, we now have the club dues line item that has been applied. And you can also see it has been applied to a total amount of 11 members. And you can see the total amount of charges listed here as well. If you wanted to go back and edit it, all you have to do is go ahead and click on that edit link that's there. But what if you wanted to include a couple other options in your invoice as well, not just your club dues? Say the club prepays for any lunches that would happen at any club meetings. We can go ahead and add multiple line items in this case. So let's go ahead and add another line item by clicking on the Add Additional Item button once again. And from here, we can, just like before, we can enter in all of that line item information. So we can go ahead and add club meeting lunch. And for lunch, it is $10 per lunch. And we hold, and in this case, we hold 4 meetings per month, once per week. So that will roughly equate to about 4 lunches per month. So we'll enter in a quantity of 4. And then, of course, all of the tax has been applied as well, as you can see. But in this case, the lunches are an optional payment for our club members, and some of our members have already chosen to prepay for the month. So we need to select the specific members that will be taking on this charge. So since we have everyone selected, let's go ahead and click on the Unselect All Active Members link. And this will automatically deselect everyone for us. So now we can go through and we can adjust this however we would like. So let's select a couple of people that are choosing to prepay for our lunches. Let's select Sue here. We can select Mickey Dewey, Judith Draper, and Cyril Kornbluth. These people have chosen to prepay for their lunches, so we'll go ahead and select them. Now we're happy with all these changes. We'll go ahead and click on the Save option again. And as you can see, our club meeting lunch has now been applied to 4 members for a total of $180.80, including taxes. And you can continue to add as many additional items as you would like. It's not necessarily limited in that sense. You can keep going, adding to make sure you can get the best invoice that you want sent out. Once you're happy with all of the items that you've added to your bill, we can go ahead and click on we can move to step 2, review. So this is to make sure that all of the information that we've entered is correct before we go ahead and generate our invoices. Once you go about generating your club's invoices and having them sent out, you will not be able to update your invoice anymore. So you really, really want to make sure that you go through step 2 and make sure that your billing roster is all set up how you would like it to do. So in order to preview our invoices, all we have to do is go ahead and click on the billing roster link located under step 2. So let's click on that. And what this will do is we'll take all of the information that we've entered already, all of the different line items, and it will break it down on a per member basis. So once the system is done processing all of this information, it will take and show all of that information for us so that we can review it. So let's just give it a moment here. And as you can see, we are brought to the batch summary page. And again, from here, we can see a breakdown of each individual member's invoice and what's included on them. So Sue Baker here, since they weren't included for the club dues, their rule of 85, they're only paying for their meeting lunches. And if we can scroll down, we can see some more of this information for each and every single one of our members that has had a line item applied to their statement. You may notice occasionally some members may have a little note next to their name. So in this case, Lay Brackett here has a note that says missing email address. So this will indicate whether or not you'll actually be able to send out that invoice to them. So in the case of Lay, they do not have that email address within their profile. So the system won't actually be able to send out that invoice. But if you don't see any notes there, generally that means that member is good to go and you'll be able to, the invoice will be sent to them without any issues. So this is where you can review all of the information that we've entered for our members. And once you're happy with all this information, you know that it's all good to go. All we have to do is scroll down to the bottom of the page and we can click on the Go Back button. And this will bring us back right back to that batch main page we were on previously, where we can move on to the next step of generating our invoices. And again, I mentioned this previously, but once an invoice has been generated, you will no longer be able to edit the items, the individual items within them. So you want to make sure that all of that information is accurate and ready to go. So let's go ahead and click on the Generate Invoices option. You'll get this nice little pop-up message just to indicate that you want to generate these invoices so that we can confirm that for you. So go ahead and click on the OK button. And the system will now start generating all of these invoices for us to actually send out to our club members. Depending on how many club members you have, how many line items you've created, the time that this takes can change a little bit. But as long as you let it go, it should come up. And in our case, it happened. It's already finished up. So from here, we can scroll down to the bottom of the page, and as you can see, the Add Additional Item button, the Edit Links, the Delete Links, as well as the Generate Invoices option, they're all now grayed out. So what this means is that you can't go back and edit anything. So make sure that everything is good to go before you generate your invoices. So now that we've generated our invoices, we can go about actually sending them out to our membership. So we're going to want to go to step 4, print/email invoices, and click on the View Individual Invoices button, or sorry, link, I should say. And this will bring us to a new page where, again, we can review each of the individual invoices for our club members, and we'll actually be able to select and send them out whether we want to print them and provide a physical copy, or we can send them out via an email. So here's the page. We have our invoice summary report with all of our information about the invoice we've just created. And as we scroll down the page, we can see all of the same information that we saw on the review step. But this time we have a couple of other options. Along each member, you will see a view/print option as well as an email option. This is how you can go about sending out invoices to individual members. But in this case, we want to send it out to just about everyone. So what we can do here is we can go ahead and we can either check the box next to each individual member's name. So we can scroll down and we can select this box. But this might take a little bit of time just depending on how many club members you have, and it may not be the most optimal way. If you just want to send out your invoices to everyone, all you have to do is go ahead and click on the Select All link next to the specific category. So in this case, we're sending out to all of our active club members. We can go ahead and click Select All, and it will automatically check the box for everyone and select them. And of course, you can do the exact same thing to unselect them. All you have to do is click Unselect All, and it will do the exact same thing, but deselect the members that have already been chosen. So we're going to go ahead and just select them all once again. And then you can see these two buttons that we have listed here. Download selected invoices in a PDF format. So this is what you will use if you wanted to print out individual invoices to provide a physical copy for your club members. You'll want to download them as a PDF. And from there, you'll be able to print them off of your computer and hand them out as normal. Or you can choose to email them out to your club's membership. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to go ahead and select Email Selected Invoices. And now the system will take that information, all of the information about the bill that we've just created, and it will queue that to be sent out to our membership. So we can see here we have our status queued for sending. We have the invoice subject line for this email, Invoice Club Dues, as well as the owner. We can also go through and click on View, and we can see the layout of the email that is sent out. This won't be the exact email since it is using what we call mail merge fields, but this is an idea of what the invoice will look like once it's been sent out, including any of the information. So these mail merge fields here will be automatically replaced in the final email to outline all of the specific charges and information that they represent in the email itself. So let's go ahead and click on Go Back. And as you can see, our status for our email has been sent. So now, well, since it's actually been successfully sent out, let's go ahead and click on the Actions drop-down menu again, and this time we'll click on Stats. And from here, this is where we can see an outline of all of the statistics for our invoicing email. So in this case, a lot of these are fake email addresses used for testing purposes. So you see a lot of them have dropped, unfortunately. But you'll be able to see all of that information and record that however you would like. So we can see how many people have opened our email, how many the email has been delivered to successfully, whether any are still queued for sending, and whether there are any sort of issues in regards to delivery of the email. So there we go. That's just about everything you need to know in regards to actually creating and sending out a bill for your club's membership. Next, I want to quickly cover how you can go about recording and entering in payments that have come in for your club's bill. So we're going to navigate back to our billing homepage. Again, you can access this page by clicking on Organization in the top blue navigation bar, and then clicking on Dues and Billing in the secondary bar that's just below. So now that we're back on the billing homepage, to start recording any payments that have been made by the club, you can go ahead and click on you have two different options that you can choose. So let's cover the single payment entry. So on the left-hand side of the page, under the statement category, go ahead and click on payment entry. And this will bring us to our page where we can manually add and record a payment. So first off, we're going to want to go ahead and select one of our club members. So from here, we can click on the drop-down menu and we can select one of our members. So let's select Olaf Stapleton here. And once you've selected a member, you'll see their current account balance appear just below. So in the case of Olaf here, they currently owe $598.90 to the club. And if you want to see a full breakdown of what this balance includes, you can go ahead and click on the View Statement option. So let's go ahead and do that very quickly, just so we can show you what that looks like. So this is the full billing transaction / statement history for our club member Olaf Stapleton. We can see here they've had a couple of invoices applied to their statement. We have one for the club dues statement that we've just created, and we also have one here for an August barbecue. And you might notice we also have a previous balance. If we were to go ahead and click on all transactions button, we'll get a full breakdown of what this will include as well. So Olaf here has been invoiced a number of times, but they haven't actually paid anything. So they're a little bit behind. So let's go back and we're actually going to enter in the payment that they've made. So from here, we can enter in a comment about the payment. So Olaf had paid the full amount via check. And you can also choose to enter in whatever information you would like here. So you can choose to include the check number in here if you would like, the date of the payment. Oh, actually, I mean, we have the transaction date down here, but you can choose to enter in just about whatever you want just for record keeping purposes. So from here, we can now go ahead and we can enter in the amount that that Olaf has paid. So in this case, Olaf has paid off the full amount. So we're going to enter in $598.90. And then finally, we can select the transaction date. And then just like before, we can click on the calendar to view the little mini calendar to select individual dates. And of course, you can go back and select the month and year as well. So in this case, Olaf had made their payment. They made their payment today, so we can go ahead and leave it as July 16th. And once we're happy with that, we can go ahead and click on the post button at the bottom of the page. And then from here, we get a nice little confirmation box where we can click on OK to confirm. And we can now see that on July 16th, a payment transaction has been applied to their account for an amount of $598.98. And that Olaf's account balance is now zeroed out. They are good to go. They're all paid up. And again, if you want to view a history of all the transactions, I mentioned this before, you can click on all transactions to view that information. Or you can choose to send out individuals a full statement of the individual's billing history to the member by clicking on the send statement by email, or you can print this out. You can print this out with a physical copy as well. So that was how we can go about entering a single payment option. Now we can talk about if we have a couple of different payments that we want to enter and we don't want to have to manually go through each individual member and add that information. In that case, we can select the multiple payment entries option on the left-hand side of the page, just below the payment entry option that we clicked before. So we can click on that. And from here, we get a big list of all of our club's members, including their account balance, as well as some additional fields where we can start entering in information about their payments. So let's go ahead and we'll start entering in some payments for these members. If the member has chosen to pay off the full amount, you can choose to use this copy balance option here, which will essentially do exactly as it says. It will take the balance that's listed for that member and it will copy it into the amount field. This is where we want to enter in the amount that the payment was in. So we can enter in $361.60 for the full amount for Sue. Lay a bracket here. They submitted a payment of $200. Eddie submitted a payment of $350. John, Mickey, Judith, Charles, all of these members, they submitted the full amount. But some of these members, they didn't submit anything. So we can go ahead and we can leave their fields as 0. And of course, you can enter in the transaction date as well. So we can enter July 16th for these members as well. And just like before, you can choose to leave a comment as well. So let's enter in, so you can say check number 123. And then we can go down number 321, and you can keep going on and on and on. Once you're happy with all of the payments that have been entered, double check to make sure that everything is correct. And then once you're happy, or once you're good, you can either choose to click on preview payments to kind of take a look at an overview of the payments that will be entered. So you can use this as a nice way to review that information quickly. And once you're good with that, go ahead and click on the submit button. You'll get a nice little confirmation message just like before, and we can click on OK to finally submit it. And if we scroll down, we can see that all of our club members' information, it's been updated with their payments, with the payments that they've just made. So let's go ahead and we'll click on show transactions for John Dean here. And we can see that on July 16th, 2021, a payment was entered for an amount of $361.60, and their account balance is now zeroed out and they are good to go. So that's how you can go about entering in payments for your clubs. And of course, if the club does have the online payment module, members will be able to log in and submit their payments online via credit card, and all of this information will be automatically recorded for you. But in this case, we do not have that option. So we've gone through and we've entered in, we've manually entered in these payment informations. Next, what if there was a mistake that we didn't catch when we were entering in payments or when we were applying dues, or we just want to apply a credit or something like that to our clubs or to one of our club members? We have a couple of different options that we can use to accomplish that. Those being the credit adjustment, debit adjustment, and cancel transaction tools that are available here, just below where we've entered in we've selected the multiple payment entries option. So we can click on the credit adjustment options for this example. And just like when we were entering a single payment entry, we can go ahead and select our individual member. So let's go ahead and we can select Catherine Moore here, who currently owes a balance of $655.15 to the club. Again, you can also choose to enter in a comment. So we can enter in whatever we would like here. So let's leave it as the default credit adjustment for now. But again, and you can enter in whatever you would like. And then finally, we can enter the amount that we want this credit adjustment to apply. So as a credit adjustment, whenever we enter in a number here, that will act as a payment towards that member's statement. So it will, in general, it will decrease the amount that that the individual owes. So say we had Catherine here had submitted some information previously, and we accidentally overcharged them. So in this case, we can enter in an amount to decrease the balance that they owe to correctly reflect that. So let's go ahead and we can enter in whatever amount we would like here, as long as it is a positive number. So let's enter in an amount of $500. There was an error, and that $500 shouldn't have been applied to their account. So let's go ahead and also enter in our transaction date as before. It will by default fill into today's date, but again, you can select whatever date you would like to enter here. So we'll leave it as July 16th for now. And once you're happy with this information, go ahead and click on the post option. And then in the confirmation box, go ahead and click OK. And once that's been done, we will be brought back to Catherine Moore's payment and billing history, where we can see on July 16th, we have a credit note here with our description of a credit adjustment for a payment of $500. So again, this credit adjustment will act as a payment to decrease the amount that the member owes. If we want to instead increase the amount that they owe, we can do a debit adjustment. And this will follow the exact same process as we did for a credit adjustment. We can go in, select our club member. So let's go for Judith Draper here. And when we were entering in the recent payment for Judith here, we made a mistake. They didn't actually pay the full amount. They were missing $25. So we can enter in that information, and we'll just clarify that a little bit in our comments. Previous payment entry was incorrect. Member owes $25. So we have all that information entered. We've entered in the amount that we would like to charge to the member. And then we've also entered in our transaction date. So let's go ahead and click on the post option here. And then we're going to confirm once again. And as you can see, let's see here. Let's go ahead and click on all transactions. All right, so we have our $25 amount that has been applied to their account. I don't seem to see it here for some reason. Oh, here we go. So July 16th debit note. We have our debit adjustment has been applied to their account for an amount of $25 as a charge to increase the amount that they owe. And as you can see at the top of the page, Judith now has an outstanding balance of $25. And then finally, for the final option to adjust a member's transaction history is we have the cancel transaction option. So in this case, if a charge or any sort of transaction was applied to a member's account inadvertently, or for whatever reason we need to void or cancel that transaction, we can use this tool to do that as well. So let's go ahead and we can select a member here. Let's go ahead. We'll leave it as Judith Draper once again. And then it turns out we've actually made a mistake. We were incorrect when we were reviewing, and they don't actually owe us the $25. They paid the full amount correctly, and that was just an error on our end. So we can use this tool to correct that. So with the void and cancel transaction option, this works a little bit differently. In this case, you can enter both a positive or negative number into the amount field in order to void or cancel a transaction. So in this case, if you were to enter in a positive amount for this cancel transaction entry, it will decrease the balance that the member owes. Or if we were to enter in a negative amount, it will act as a charge to increase the balance that they owe. So in the case of Judith here, we want to bring this back down to $0 owed to the club. So we will enter in a positive amount to decrease the amount that Judith owes to us. So we can either, so let's go ahead and we'll enter in the $25 once again. So to correct our previous mistake of that previous credit adjustment, sorry, debit, yeah, the credit adjustment that we made. We'll go ahead and click on the post button. And once again, click confirm. And we can now see that it has been applied and they now have a credit of $0. So their account is zeroed out. Judith is now good to go. So that's how you can go about adjusting your club's individual transaction histories. And now we can go about, we can talk about things like our reports and items like that. If any of you club treasurers use QuickBooks out there, we do have that option to export all of this information to QuickBooks as well. So we're going to go ahead and click on Export to QuickBooks. And from here, we can see a history of all of the transactions within Club Runner. And of course, you can enter in a start and end date as well, if we want to specify a specific time frame. But if you wanted to export this information so that you could import it into QuickBooks, you can either go ahead and click on the Export to QuickBooks desktop or Export to QuickBooks online, depending on which platform of QuickBooks you are using. So depending on what you want, you can choose which option to use. But this isn't really the only report that you guys can access. We have a couple other ones that are available as well. Specifically under the reports category on the left-hand side of the dues and billing module pages. So let's go ahead and we'll click on the debits and credits report. So what this will allow us to see, it will show a total amount of debit and credit transactions over the course of the selected period. So right now we have April 1st, 2021 to July 1st, 2021. So this will tally up all of the amount of debit transactions and credit transactions that were applied to each of our individual members' accounts, and it will give us that information. So we can see here on July 1st, April 1st, 2021, Sue Baker here had a balance or was carrying a balance of $54, and then over the course of the period that we have selected. To July 1st, 2021, there was a total of $248.60 worth of debit transactions, while there was a total of $54 of credit transactions. And with this, it resulted in an end balance of $248.60. And we'll have all of this information available for each one of our club members. So you can use this to take a look at that information. We also have the monthly balance report. What this will do, similar to the previous one, it will give you a report based on a period of time. So we can select an individual period of time that we would like to view. So again, by default, we have April 1st here to July 7th. This will give you the balance of each individual member at the start of each month. So if we were to go ahead and change this field, right now we have through April 1st to July 1st. Let's go back to January 1st. And we'll go ahead and click on the refresh option. And this will give us some more information on what we can see. So for Sue, we can see their entire transaction history over the course of the selected period. So Sue here had a $54 balance from January, February, March, and April. And then on May, it looks like their balance had been zeroed out and through May and June. And then in July, on July 1st, we have the $248.60 balance. So this is how you can go about seeing the status of each member's balance on a monthly basis. So you can keep track of that information if you would like. And I already showed you guys this very briefly earlier on, but we also have the email archive. So this is where we can see and we can review the statistics for our club emails. I won't go over this too in depth again, since we did cover this briefly earlier. But from here, we can see the date that our invoice email was sent out, subject line, the owner. And if we were to click on the actions button, we will be able to go in and view the preview of the invoices that were sent out. Of course, you won't actually be able to see the invoice information that was included. However, you'll be able to see the mail merge fields and the things that were used to send out that information, so you can get a general idea of what it will look like. And then you can also choose to view your club's statistics. And again, I mentioned this all before previously, but this is where you'll be able to see specific information regarding things like how many people had successfully received and viewed the invoice that was sent out, how many it was delivered to successfully, whether any are still in the process of being sent out, as well as any individuals that happen to have the email either bounce or drop, so it wasn't successfully delivered to them. And you'll also be able to see percentages on all of this information. So this is another great tool to use to keep track of that, all of that information, and so you can know whether or not someone had received the invoice, or if it needs to be sent again. So that's just about everything that is within the dues and billing module. I hope this information was all very, very helpful for you. You should be able to have a great start in getting to use this module. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to pass the webinar over to Zach, who will be taking you guys through a quick Q&A session to review any of any questions that you may have asked during the webinar. So again, thank you guys for joining me today. I hope Zach is able to provide you with some great information as well. Take care, guys.
Thank you very much for all of that, Michael. And thank you, everybody, for all of your really great questions. We had a lot of really awesome questions, and we have a few more that we haven't gotten to yet. And I just want to go over some of the really popular and common ones to go ahead and get us started. So the most common question that we ended up having was all of the options about electronic payments. I know Michael touched on it a little bit, but for anyone else who is looking for that information, our dues and billing module does support online payments, and payment options are available basically by country, because each country has their own payment processors, rules, regulations, all of that fun stuff. But if you guys need accurate information on who your which payment vendor we support for your country, you can come to site.clubrunner.ca. You can go ahead and click on this features link right at the top, and then from the features page, scroll down to online payment. And from the online payment processing page, select the country. For any reason, if your country is not there, you can select all countries. You'll have to talk to us because we have different options for each, for some countries comparatively to others. But we do have dedicated payment processors and application forms available for our US, Canadian, Australian, and New Zealand-based customers. So all of those do integrate with our dues and billing module, which means that instead of having to manually record the payments like Michael showed off today, members who do pay by credit card would have their payments automatically tracked in the module. So that by far was our most common question. And I just want to note, if you guys are using a different payment provider that we have and you would prefer to stick with that payment provider, there's no problem with that. We might not be able to integrate it, but if you guys are using an alternative payment provider and you would like to see that payment provider supported in the future, absolutely let us know. I really appreciate everybody letting me know today which payment methods you guys were using, because all of that information is going to get passed over to our product team for their review and consideration moving forward. So I think that covers a good handful of the questions. I definitely know I had one here. PJ had asked, is there a way to see what the statement is and what the invoice will look like when the member receives it? And I'm going to go ahead and jump right into our system and show you guys that. So I am here in the Rotary Club of Greentown, just like Michael was. And right now I am signed in as an administrative user. But one of the really nice things about our new welcome dashboards is that we have, as an administrator, you can see the exact same thing that your members see. And when when PJ had first asked the question, if you want to get a feel for what a member sees, like what they're seeing and how they're navigating, these are the same instructions you would want to give them. So if a member ever needs to see their account balance, or you want to specifically see how they would go through that, here we're on the members dashboard, and you can see there's a nice big green button here that says My Account Balance. Clicking on that will lead you to your own account balance, where you can see the same things a member would see. So you can see I've been a little negligent on paying my balance here. I owe almost $760. You can see these individual invoices, and clicking on these invoices will let you see the invoice that would arrive to the member. Additionally, if you needed to see individual invoices from those members, if you go to the dues and billing module, the account statement page is really going to be the best place for you guys to see that. You can get an overview of everyone and the amount of money that they owe. You can also click Show Transactions on an individual member. This is effectively a mirror of the My Account Balance page, except as an administrator, you can see all of the members. Regular members obviously can't see the full information. So if you wanted to, you can send a statement by email, you can print the report, and this is going to be the same information that the member receives in the email or thereabouts. And you can also see any of their payments or previous balances. So hopefully that helps address the question about being able to see those statements and see what other members are able to do. I see a lot of questions about individual things about sales tax and local local jurisdictions and stuff. And I just want to comment that our team really isn't able to answer any of those questions, because how you guys handle sales tax is really going to depend not only by your national level, the country that you're in, potentially via your individual area that you're in, state, province, territory, and then potentially your city. So for all of those questions, I would really defer you guys back to your district staff. I have a very good feeling they'll have someone who knows and will be able to help you with that. But yeah, those aren't really answers that our team can answer accurately. And I just wanted to make that as a generalized statement for everybody. So, all right, moving on here. Let me see if I have any other good open ones that we can adjust here. Janice asked about being able to change the date of the bill. So when you guys create bills right now, unfortunately, that is the date that the bill is created at. So when you go to create the bill, the date of the bill will be today, but of course you can set a due date for whenever you want in the future for that. That does mean if you are doing your billing early before like the Rotary year changeover, note that invoice won't show up on the member's account. It'll show up, but it'll show up as part of the previous year. And I think we've had some other feedback about that. So Janice, I'm definitely going to make sure we get that over to our product team. That way we can consider that in the future. Let's see, I am just taking a look down. Let me take a look at some of the ones that are coming in right now. So Sean is asking, Sean B is asking about, is there a lot of setup involved to align the fields for exporting to QuickBooks? Not really. From my personal experience, or rather experiences shared with me, for the QuickBooks export option, it's really just making sure you have your account names matched up. And the only thing I've heard otherwise that clubs will run into issues with is just name differences between Club Runner and between your QuickBooks export. So a really common example of this is you've got James Smith in your club. That's how his record is recorded in Club Runner. But in your QuickBooks system, you have him as Jim Smith. I can't go through all, we don't provide support for QuickBooks, but it is my understanding you'd want to just get those records to match the names going forward, and then you should be able to merge those transactions for them. Carolyn J asks, can you duplicate a bill if you bill monthly or quarterly for the same amount? And the answer to that question is absolutely yes. And I can go through that really quickly here. So I'm going to head back to our home section here on the Rotary Club of Greentown, and we have the dues that Michael had just finished. Let's reuse these for our next month dues. So we can go ahead and hit copy, and it'll ask, are we certain? Copying quite literally creates a direct copy of the bill. as is. The only difference is that it's not closed yet. So I'm going to go ahead and click on edit so I can make changes to both the comments and the description. And we will set the due date for September 4th. I'll go ahead and click save here. So now we have a new open bill, and if we come in through the club dues next September payment here, we can see all of the same information that was part of our previous one. So we have our club dues, which is a quantity of 1 for our pricing. We can go in and click edit. Because this invoice was already created, we have all of the setup here. So if anyone else had attended, so Sue and John also need to be included here. Let's say club dues have gone up for some reason to $60 a month. I don't know why, but that is the case. When you make this adjustment up here at the unit price, all of it will fill down through all of the other sections here, and we can go ahead and hit save. Now that we've saved it and we've included our new members, we would basically just continue with this invoice as normal. Once we are all happy with it, we check the billing roster and we generate the invoices, and then we could send them or send those any of those emails. All right, let's see. I had there was a great question from Boris about generating a donation receipt. Right now, the dues and billing module does not handle anything related to donations, so it is not capable of generating those donation receipts. The member who makes the payment, if it is electronically, will receive a receipt from their payment. But if you needed to give them like a taxable write-off receipt, you guys would have to generate that on your own at that time. All right, let's see if there are any other really good questions. So PJ had another question about asking about being able to put a logo onto the invoices. I can confirm for you guys right now that that option is not available, but like a lot of our other great questions here and feedback, I'm going to make sure that our product team knows about that for integration in the future. Jeffrey M asks about integration with the events module. The straight answer to that question is no. At this time, the events module does not interconnect with the dues and billing module, but that is something we have heard from other clubs and members before, so that I know that is something we are keeping in mind for future updates. So anonymous person asks, we want to send statements with the invoices because some members have previous balances. How is the process changed for this? So after you've sent your invoices, if you also wanted to send the account statements from your club, you can return to the account statements page, and you can click the send statements by email. All you have to do is select the users who need to receive it. And fortunately, there are some really nice things here. So you can select everybody. That's going to quite literally select every single membership type. You can select only the members who are being negligent in their balances. And of course, you can unselect everything as well. So I will choose the select members only members owing statements, and go ahead and click on send statement by email. This will send them a copy of their statement. And I want to point something out here because this does come up often enough that I like to call it out. The statement last emailed is about the time that you sent the statements, not the time that you've sent any invoices. We do consider those two different things. So in a few minutes here, all of the members that I've just checked and clicked that button for will receive those emails. And yeah, they'll be able to view their statement. So yeah, I would definitely send the invoices out. And then if you have members owing balances, select that option and send it right after you get those invoices out. And I think I may have time for just one more question. Let's see, is there anything that I can? Harry has actually got a great question here, and I see Michael might be trying to answer this. And I want to answer it just because it's such a good general question, and it's going to have knock-on things for everything else in Club Runner. Harry has a couple who are sharing an email address. So officially, just to kind of clear the room of all of this, Rotary does not support any individuals sharing any emails whatsoever. So having two people have the same email address is definitely going to cause problems for Rotary integration reasons. But as as they were mentioning, they only ever get a copy of the bill, one copy of the bill. And the reason why they only ever get a single copy is because we have deduplication programs we have a deduplication function, and that's a really fancy word for just saying we take out all the duplicates. And the reason we have this deduplication function is sometimes maybe you're going to select all of your different email groups. So for example, here we have the active and honorary members, and here we have a bunch of custom distribution lists. These lists are from basically the same groups of members. So instead of sending the same members the same emails multiple times, when the email address matches, we only send out a single copy. We basically drop the second one. So as a workaround to that issue, you would really want to select everyone, including the couple, except not both of them at the same time. And once you have sent it out to everyone, including only one of those people in the couple group, after you send the first batch out, specifically select that second one and email them directly. So I will show that off really quickly, and then that's going to have to be a wrap today. And I do know we have a ton of other good questions still outstanding. So anything that we have not answered, we will absolutely be following up with you guys. So just to come back into this earlier invoice that Michael had created, when we go to the view individual invoices page here, and now that we have all our invoices, so the way I would do this, let's just say that Mickey Dewey and Judith Draper are our example for this question. I'm going to select all, but I'm going to explicitly exclude Judith because Judith and Mickey share the exact same email. So first I'll email all of the invoices, and then after emailing all of them, I will email just the one invoice to Judith. This will help ensure that both members always receive their invoices. All right. Thank you very much, everybody, for your time here today. We really appreciate you spending some time with us. We're going to go ahead and wrap it for today, and we look forward to seeing you guys at our upcoming webinars next week for the rest of the Club Runner changeover season.